Usually there's there.
That's your pleasure, Mr. Chairman.
Call meeting order. Public comment.
Well, I've got it quick when I showed up this time too. The animal control meeting you guys had a couple weeks ago. You had a sign on the door. The meeting notice and the agenda said, you know, 12 o'clock. I was by there within 2 or 3 minutes after 12 and nobody was in the parking lot. So then I went to a restaurant on the Main Street Cafe. Then about 12:25 I see the animal control truck go down the highway and I saw
Yeah, I can explain that to you.
somebody else that was going down there. And apparently the meeting started at 12:30.
Yeah, there's a reason.
I know there's a reason, but it needed to be rescheduled.
She had gone to Mattoon to get dog food free at the place in Mattoon. She got there like 9:30 in the morning. She didn't get loaded till like 11:30 in the afternoon or in the morning because I don't know why. So she's on her way back. She texted us. It was about 11:30. Said she was gonna be late. So that's the reason why the meeting was at 12:30.
I don't know,
You could have come back at 12:30.
I'm not gonna file a complaint.
I don't care.
But just, you know,
I really don't
for
care.
future reference, hey,
File one. That's fine. I
either
don't
sit
care.
We don't
somebody,
need any more
I
complaints.
know.
hey, you should either sit somebody there or post a note on the door, hey, we're gonna be 30 minutes late.
We were here in this meeting till what, 11:45?
Yeah.
Alan, what time did I text you and told you that?
I was at the courthouse texting something else. It was
Yeah.
probably around 12.
Anything else?
5.
That was it, I mean, just.
Okay, I'm just explaining why the meeting was 12:30.
Well, and it's a legitimate reason,
Right.
but, you know.
Any other public comment? Not, we'll have committee reports. Okay. Alan?
Can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Volunteer.
We did have a meeting with Bush Human Resources to set some time schedules coming up for our health insurance rebid, and also the plan is hopefully that we'll have some, I'm hoping some sort of a special meeting sometime later on this week to for the purpose of accepting or putting out for bids the health insurance program. We also talked a little bit about workman's comp and also property and casualty, but the major one right now is to try to get things in line so that we can get our bid schedules out for the health. That's really all I have at this time.
Carl?
One day last week, I met with the state's attorney. We briefly talked on the IMRF SLEP issue. He's going to be in, well, better not. We'll talk about that in executive session. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Also, I talked with him about the lease we have with 911, and he gave us initial opinion, but he just had just looked at the copy. I think he was going to do a little more thinking and looking, but it is a valid lease. As far as the addition in the back, his initial thoughts were that if 911 wanted to occupy it and move their personnel back there, they probably can. But he's going to do a little more research on that. Airport, I'm not sure the time frame, either later this week or next week. We're going to be having an airport committee meeting to make, I guess, a final decision on the airport lease, discuss and make a decision on resolution about the airport advisory committee. I think everybody has had copies of the proposed resolution on the airport advisory committee. I think, I haven't talked to all of you, but kind of get the general sense from everybody. Do you have copies of the airport lease?
Yeah, I was gonna ask for an exec session.
Okay, I didn't know that you had that.
Yeah, I have to get to everybody
Okay,
else.
all right.
And then we're gonna be, what, making recommendations on the advisory board?
Yes. And also, when we have our meeting, probably we'll do the interviews for the airport manager with that, and have a recommendation on that, maybe by the June meeting, whenever that is. Yeah. I think that was it.
It'll be 11.
Anything else, Jeff? Leo?
No, nothing we can hold.
That's it.
Dale?
Nothing new on my committees, but I had a question, when does the sheriff's committee meet?
Reference to
Just, do you have a regular meeting time?
whenever an issue comes up that we need to meet, but I anticipate with this SLEP issue that sometime in the near future, we will be meeting with the sheriff on that. If there's something else that needs to be addressed.
Well, get my 5 minutes of public comment, I guess.
Okay,
These three and me and Augie were sitting at the Kreckman building, having the insurance committee meeting. I'm facing, just as I am now, facing the window on Main. Police car goes by at a nominal rate of speed, then two more. Third car, I couldn't tell you if it was white, red, or if it was even a car. It was moving on. I probably have the order wrong, but I was looking out the window. There's a total of 5 police cars, then a fire truck, ambulance, 2 more ambulances. I'm like, this is a major deal. And the officer on the scene basically called the cavalry. But when they get out there at Stidle Road and Route 1, there was no accident at all. There was one vehicle, a senior citizen van, who talked to Gary before. We think the driver for some reason had to hit the brakes for another vehicle or who knows what, and one of the restraints broke and one of the passengers was on the floor. But the responding deputy said he could not get into the vehicle. But once everybody got out there, the ambulance guy went around the other side of the van and opened the door. My point is, this was overkill to say the least. I do not have all the facts, I'm just throwing this out. But the contrast is my accident in the fall of 11. One sheriff deputy was north of here. No one else to respond. I still don't know how 911 works, I guess, but I thought, okay, they'll call the city police. Somebody will come out and direct traffic, because my accident was blocking both lanes of 133 at about 5 o'clock. A bad time. The traffic's piling up. 15 minutes later, fire truck shows up. In my book, that's not the greatest response time for 5 miles. It was on Conlog Road. Volunteer firemen eventually get there too. They're doing all the traffic control. I was wearing a watch then. 22 minutes later, the ambulance guys insist I go to the hospital, so I'm sitting in there waiting for x-rays and whatever. State police called me twice to make sure I was coming back to the scene. But the point is, where were all those people when I had my accident, and why did we have this tremendous response the other day? My question, I guess, I don't know whose purview it is, sheriff's committee or what, but I would hope that all the agencies get together maybe once a month and go back and say, hey, May 22nd, why did this happen? Could we have handled it differently? Whatever, I don't know. I just throw out the contrast on the table. And I think someone should be doing something. I'm not saying anyone acted incorrectly. I do not have all the facts. That's just my opinion. But we had several witnesses sitting here that saw the whole thing go by.
pass it on to the sheriff, the 911 coordinator. Just look into what the facts are, you know. We don't know what,
No.
you know, the call was. you know,
Right.
What it was reported as to be.
Yeah.
So, right.
It just bothered me enough to bring it up.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And
No major problems. Meeting a couple weeks ago. I think she's still trying to get the cameras installed, but Ross was busy with schooling, so maybe we'll get that done next month. So. And then I told Gary about the article in the paper with the dog that the couple came on the airplane, picked him up to Wisconsin. I told Andy that was great, so other than that,
Jeff?
Yes, sir. Let's see, we have a rough draft of the specs for the phone system design. I'll get those to the committee, meaning you, Carl, and Alan. So we are working on that with the idea of you having kind of more than a rough draft at the next study session so that we can put it on the agenda and get it out for bids. So we do have that. Prepping a budget is starting to talk to Don. We're going to be talking with, they're working out just segmented budget for each. We're not making any decisions on what the budget is, just getting the document out so that the department heads can start thinking about what their budget's going to look like for FY15. Additionally, need to ask Augie, have we got the information from Bushu yet on the standardized forms so that we can start working? I told Don and Pam about that on payroll. In other words, everybody has to use the same form, and that way we're protected against the Obamacare information, and we have standard, like the accountant asked for us to have a standardized form, and everybody's doing
I
this.
haven't seen one yet.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not somewhere, maybe Billy Ann has seen it, but I haven't seen it.
If you haven't, can you jingle Travis and
Yes.
and make sure
Terry,
that,
Terry had that.
And maybe she
Terry
has.
Quinn. I'm saying she was the one who was gonna make sure that it got there, so you may wanna check with Terry versus Billy Ann, because she was the one who had that at that meeting. They were supposed to get it back to the end of May.
The standardized form you're talking about.
well, they were gonna send us several, so that we could
use
pick or
Yeah.
merge them and come up with
So it's
something.
supposed to
Or
go
at
to
least
audit.
samples.
Well, Augie's office,
Right.
okay? And we need to have a meeting then and talk about this and some other things so that everybody's on the same page, okay?
And the employees can fill out the application ahead of time.
Right, that happens this week also. You might, the applications or for the insurance,
Health insurance?
health insurance was going to go out to the folks this week. Also, Billy Ann had some, and Augie had some concerns about the health insurance. Once we go through the process, make the award of who's gonna cover it, and then they were gonna fill out enrollment documents. And there was concern about timing because that issue in the past has caused some problems. And we need to get with Bushu, Alan, and make sure that people weren't having too much withheld or having to make up the difference. Last year it was kind of an issue with payroll. And
And that's
You
why
might
I would
ex-
say that would go, that's why we have Billy Ann and you as our direct liaison with them. I mean, I think that's what we really need to work on is like.
well, I told them to let you know their concerns also
Right.
as
That's-
chairman.
That's
of the committee.
fine, but what I'm saying is like, so that we know like those different lines going back and forth, even like these other
That's fine.
issues
I just
on
bring
those
it up
last
so
2
we're all
days.
aware of the issue.
Yeah, no, it's a good issue to bring up.
The other thing in the paper, after the last meeting, it said, budget's still in deficit. I wanted to clarify for everybody here, the last 3 years, our budget has not had a deficit. The deficit is in previous years. And for example, when we took over, it was 630 or 650. This past year, we paid down the deficit by 60,000. In other words, the last several years, we have spent less than we've taken in. And we're taking that difference in paying down the deficit that we've had from several years ago. There is actually not, I mean, I don't think there'll be one this year, it's not designed to be. So we have not actually been operating on an annual basis on a deficit. We're just simply trying to make up the difference in what we had prior to several years ago. Does anybody disagree with that? Okay. I guess that's it for me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody have anything else? Augie?
Well, that came up quick. I don't know if I was ready or not. We in my office have changed, or in the process of changing vendors for our recording system. Our current provider is going through some corporate restructuring, and the service has not been what we would expect. And in fact, our contract expired, July of last year, and there were some very weak attempts by the current company to come visit and get going. So anyway, I decided we would change to a new vendor that is going to be more efficient, help us be more efficient, and also give the public access to certain information via the internet, as far as public information, so they can track deeds, mortgages, that type of thing. And in all that, there will be some revenue sharing for us, and also the billing is going to be more on a fixed basis. Instead of 1 month it could be $2,300, next month it could be $700. Just depends upon how much recording there's going on, and this is going to level out. So we're in the midst of conversion right now, and it's going very well.
This service on the internet's not free then?
That is correct. There's certain, I don't have all the details worked out, but the company, it's called Fiddler, they're coming in tomorrow to do a public search. It's a mini seminar, if you will, and we've invited attorneys and banks and title companies and anybody that we think would benefit from this. We have a lot of people that come in and search on our public search site, which is obviously free, but really for those who can't get into the office, that's what this program is called, Laredo. There are some small fees associated with logging on and accessing it from remote location. So yeah. We are also trying to wind down the levy process. We've sent our confirmation notices out, specifically schools, just confirming what we have on file, what they said they wanted as far as the levy. So we think we're good with that. We have our levy vendor from Menatron is coming in Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe Friday if needed, and we hope to have all of our numbers finalized so that we can shift the information back over to Don, to the treasurer's side, so he needs a couple weeks to get the information reviewed so that he can get the tax bills out. So we're busy in my office.
So your goal is to have that information to him when? I'm sorry.
Early June. I don't have a target date. Well, we do, but I don't have it. I don't have it with me. it's he needs it early June so that he can look things over so that he can go and do the tax bills. I could find out for you. I think it's June single digit, so that he can have it for June double digit, like in the teens. And then the tax bills, I think he hopes to go out by,
The end of June.
End of June, so we're looking at
no, if not sooner than, yeah,
still end of July,
There you
end of
go.
September phase. So we said,
yeah, yeah, so we have
About the same time as last year.
yeah, a mid-July payment and a mid-September payment.
I've got a question, talking about tax levies. When do, for I guess next year's taxes, when do we set those levies? When do we start working on that?
In August.
In August? And then it's done before the 1st of November?
Oh, yeah, if the board will have them and they'll be done by October, that's what we.
So if we
want
want to change some of these
Absolutely,
levies, we
right,
lower levies?
right. Yeah, anytime.
Okay.
You'll be involved.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Mr. Chairman, I move we go to closed session for appointments, employment, compensation, litigation, and the setting of price of lease on property owned by the public body. Please.
Second.
Carl, second.
Yes.
All those in favor of going into executive session for the purposes stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.